Good evening, and I would like to extend a very warm welcome to our Year 12 students, our Year 13 students, and all their family members who are joining us for this live stream. Under very different circumstances, we will be holding a Raising Achievement evening face-to-face in our school hall, but due to the COVID restrictions, we cannot do that. As the new principal at Ash Green School, I have been really impressed with our post-16 cohorts. They have returned after what has been such an unprecedented period of time. And every student has engaged very eagerly, very rapidly with all their learning. So I want to share that with you as the families that the student body are the epitome of excellence and endeavour. As a staff body, we are utterly committed to ensuring that all of the learning gaps and challenges that COVID presented over the last 6 months are quickly addressed. And in our time with the students, so whether it be Year 12s who are with us for a 2-year journey or our current Year 13s who will complete at the end of this academic year, that we will do all we can to ensure that every single student under our care moves on to either higher education or a really high quality vocational route with the best qualifications and experiences that we can possibly offer. And next August, so in August 2021, when I meet each Year 13, I know that I will be congratulating each student on all of their wonderful successes. There's a great team of staff who are working day in, day out to ensure that students, their well-being, their support, their attendance issues, anything that is, preventing possible learning from occurring, are doing all we can to support them. And tonight is to give you some further information about the year ahead. So I'm just going to hand over to my colleagues for the remainder of the evening, but a very warm welcome from me.
Good evening, everyone. So first introductions from myself. My name's Tony Lee. I'm the Vice Principal of the school and I'm overseeing the brilliant work of the Sixth Form team. It's from a personal point of view, an absolute pleasure to be part of this Sixth Form team at such an amazing phase of the Sixth Form journey here at Ash Green. I was here at the launch of the Sixth Form when it originally came to the school, and I've watched it grow into the absolute powerhouse that it currently is, which is obviously, again, such a great pleasure to see. And as you'll hear very shortly from the rest of the Sixth Form team, that it is now this beacon of excellence in the school, this thing that all of our students from Year 7 upwards aspire to be part of. Without doubt, it's the best feeling here as an educator to witness young people achieving such amazing things. That can be grades, it can be apprenticeships, it can be those first choice universities that our students often secure. Throughout the year, we'll be supporting our young people and our young adults every step of the way to make sure we make up for that lost learning that has happened based on the lockdown period. So again, I would like to assure you that the team is totally committed to making sure that all of the students here at Ash Green become excellent young people, excellent adults, and are successful in life. So that's enough from me. I'm going to hand over now to Mr. Mark Wolford for further information around the Raising Achievement and how that's going to look throughout the rest of the academic year. Have a good evening, and over to you, Mark. Thank you.
Good evening all. A warm welcome from myself as well as Head of Sixth Form, and a very good evening. Thank you for tuning into the live stream. Got plenty of information to share with you this evening, so I apologise in advance for the rate at which we'll go through it, but be assured that if you've got any questions that we're willing to answer them if you get in touch on the lines that we provide at the end of the presentation. As you can see, I'm Head of Sixth Form with a strong team to support me, 2 assistant heads of Sixth Form, Mrs Wallace and Miss Clare. In terms of what we're going to cover in this presentation, you'll be hearing quite a large proportion from myself, but I'll be passing over to Mrs Wallace for portions of this, as she does a phenomenal job in a lot of areas of Sixth Form, and she'll be able to share that information, that work with you. In terms of the year to date, if you like, the current situation, we've tried to encapsulate what we have done to date, and there's been a lot of things being put in place, and there's constant work
moving forward, given the precarious nature of all the kind of COVID safeguarding and the precarious nature of the lockdowns nationwide. But what we can assure you is that we are doing our utmost to support your students and see them through a difficult 2 years ultimately. So far, we've completed all of the year 11 into 12 bridging work throughout the summer. We had a head start on that and we've been really impressed with the standard of that work. We've been able to look at baseline tests in a number of our year 12 subjects to look at starting points really to see where the gaps were, having been in lockdown since March and lost a lot of that time. We've also completed our year 13 finals much later than anticipated. We normally do them at kind of a July point, but we've managed to do those, get them marked, feedback is being given, and we can see now where we're looking at with our year 13s, again, gaps, progress, and how to move forward. We've had induction for year 12s and a very successful reintegration for year 13s. The biggest change, I suppose, on the face of things is the change to the timetable. Obviously, we exist in bubbles at the school at the moment, and it's been very difficult in terms of making sure we've got the right people in the right places and trying to ensure continuity for the students. Currently, our year 12s are on a 6-hour timetable on, or if you like, in school, and then a 3 hours outside model where we're loading up students with work that's purposeful, hopefully meaningful, that they can complete in our absence effectively to make sure we've got that whole 9 hours. More progress there with year 13s. We've been able to claw back and scrape back as much teaching time as possible. We are fast approaching a full 9-hour on timetable model. And we're going to keep reviewing this curriculum, particularly looking towards after Christmas to see if we can keep clawing hours back for the year 12s. We've managed to reopen the Sixth Form Study Centre, and the feedback that we've had from students is really, really positive. They're using it purposefully and meaningfully. That the way that they've actually integrated into that amongst the differences and the changes that they've seen is truly commendable. We've got a strong staff body, staffing the Key Stage 5, full of specialist teachers. We do recognise, however, despite the specialisms, that we are in uncharted territory to some extent, so we are concentrating professional development opportunities around teaching online, distance learning, really springboarded from the lockdown, but moving forward certainly we need to really explore avenues to ensure we can keep that continuity of learning online. You'd have seen that we've integrated teams for every subject, and likewise we've extended the GCSE provision and we're well prepared for the autumn series. COVID measures updates are regular on the website. We are reviewing them regularly and trying our utmost to ensure as close to normal learning experience given the circumstances. You'll have seen or heard from the students as well that we have looked at our first subject intervention round. Many subjects are able to offer interventions, and I'll share that information with you shortly. Some of the key information I wanted to share with you today was around assessment planning. Amongst all this kind of chaos outside, it's really important to have a clear structure moving forward. So in front of you, you'll see mock examination dates and the summative, if you like, final examination dates for year 12-13. The ones that face us earliest are the November mocks. Year 13s will be sitting those between the 16th and 27th of November. They'll be staffed and vigilated by non-subject specialists to ensure objectivity. We realise the importance that these mocks may well have should the government make any changes or announcements around assessment and how we're going to grade students, and we're certainly taking that very seriously. The first major round for year 12s will be in February, March, where they'll be joined by the year 13s for their second round of mocks. In terms of the summative final exams, we do have a January series for BTEC year 13 only, and then the summer series, as you might have heard, has been delayed by 3 weeks. It's from May to July the 2nd. The official line is actually from the 7th of June to July the 2nd, but it is important to flag at this point that there is one English paper and one maths paper that will be sat before the May half term. BTEC year 12s and 13s plus A levels in year 13 will all be having exams in the summer series. Now for year 12s it's slightly different. They don't have externally graded exams given the 2-year linear course. So the most important date for them really, aside from those mocks, is the July 5th window, where they'll be sitting their finals, which will give us a good indication of whether they're in a suitable position to progress to year 13. I won't dwell on this too much, but the information will be on this presentation to share and return to, but the government have announced some changes to certain assessments in certain subjects in terms of the A-level. I'll leave that for you guys to read at your leisure, but certainly if you want us, want to contact us after the presentation, feel free and we can discuss those changes with you. Big focus this year on teaching and learning. I called this kind of segment the March of Progress. It started with a kind of slow amble, getting ourselves back into it, but I do feel we're picking up pace. We're certainly not a sprint yet, but the way the students have adapted, the way the teachers have adapted, we're certainly marching forwards. We've had a few rotations of the 2-week timetable now, embedded the teaching and learning. Sixth form learning walks, so quality assurance measures have been in place. We're checking in as a sixth form team and as SLT in Key Stage 5 lessons, making sure the quality of learning is high. We're sharing best practice through CPD opportunities within the school. We have developed, and you'd have seen earlier in the year, hopefully, a sixth form handbook which outlines a lot of teaching and learning expectations. There's checklists for students and staff to kind of ease them into the year and act as a yardstick really to make sure that they're on track and doing what they need to do to move forwards. Importantly, our sixth form review process is now being embedded in the whole school process, so we don't have to run a separate one. It'll be fully integrated. Teacher learning walks, asking learners and observing learners to see how they're interacting and engaging in classes will be really, really crucial within there. I do want to extend a debt of gratitude really to the way that the students have handled themselves and the maturity that they showed in terms of independent study. A lot of changes have taken place and they have gone with the flow. They're using the study area tremendously, really adult atmosphere in there, getting their heads down, working solidly. So truly commendable. Pass on our thanks, please. Our attendance at this point is obviously something we're paying close attention to, but at this point is very, very strong. And again, a debt of gratitude to families there, as well as the students themselves, for making the effort to come in, even when times are hard at this point, and pushing themselves to attend every lesson. It really does make a difference. Teaching and learning, like lower school, has had to take a slight twist, if you like. There's much more teacher-led from the front. We're taking that in a stride though, because it really is something that can prepare our students for university, the lecture style and practice and modelling within the class that goes on. We now have our ALPS targets for this year. For those not familiar with ALPS, I'll keep this bit brief, but it's a national system that effectively plots every student's progress or potential progress from their Key Stage 4 point and their average point score, and it compares them to national other students at their point and the sorts of A-level grades that they should be on. The key points really I want to stress here is that students should be aware that their ALPS target is a 2-year target. I know it can be disheartening sometimes when a student might be hitting a C or a D, but if they're doing that in year 12 and their target is a C or a B at the end of year 13, then that's really good progress, and we'll keep a clear eye on that as we go forward. It will also inform our PIPS progress intervention planning, which I'll talk to you about in a second. In terms of expectations, really kind of mirroring a lot of what we're expecting from our Key Stage 4 students in particular. I've mentioned attendance, but also really important for me as head of sixth form is to see active engagement in lesson purposeful learning behaviours whilst in independent study, whilst at home, but also within the classroom. And what I have seen so far is really, really impressive. And we are looking for ways to keep pushing students and keep motivating and praising students to keep that up, because again, it will really make a difference. As a sixth form team, one thing we do ask from students and families is to ask questions. If you're worried, if you've got any anxieties, if you're unsure about anything moving forward, then please do ask. Our details are provided at the end of the presentation. Either ask through students or contact us. And there's no problem too small, really. We'd much rather you guys feel confident and feel comfortable and at ease. So please do ask questions. We do, well, we've made a big push really in terms of optimising support. I'll go through some of the support mechanisms in a second, but we're really pushing for this culture of excellence really amongst our students, because they're really the only ones that can lead it. We can ask, we can push, we can advise, we can direct, but it's the students that have got to put it into practice. There's lots of systems in place and they'll be coming up shortly. I'm just going to hand over for a second to Mrs. Wallace, who's going to talk to you about our UCAS provision and our progression.
Thank you, Mark. Hello, everyone, and good evening. I'm really pleased to be able to talk to you in this way while we can't meet together. I'm just going to share with you a little bit about where we're up to with UCAS and how that's working this year. I want to start off by saying a big thank you to the students and the families, because this year has been our most keen year for UCAS to date. The students are really engaged with the support that's on offer, really working towards the deadlines that are set for them, and as a result we're seeing applications sent off earlier than usual, which is great. In this time of uncertainty, it's really lovely to be able to support the students with this. So the early deadline for Oxford, Cambridge and the medicine, dentistry and vet med courses has now passed. That's October the 15th, so it was last week. And we sent all of our applications for that deadline well in advance of this, which was really great to see. We've had 2 students apply and it's been a really lovely time supporting them through those applications. The deadline for all of the courses is the 15th of January, and we are working towards that well with the students. We've already had some applications sent that are for the 15th of January deadline and are supporting many students to complete their personal statements and the wider applications. We've finished another 4 personal statements today, so really good progress towards that. Staff references are complete. Our sixth form tutor team have been working very hard on this over the past few weeks. And all references are now complete and ready. So once students have finished their part of the applications, we are ready to send them. We always recommend sending applications around the November time, and this has a dual purpose. The biggest thing for us is we know that students worry, and rightly so, because it's a big decision to decide where you're going to study for the next 3 years of your life, and potentially more in some cases. So sending this off gives them the rest of the year to focus on working hard towards those grades. The other reason we really like sending them early is because some universities will start to issue offers once they receive applications. So if this happens earlier in the year, it quite often helps students to motivate themselves when they know precisely what grades they're working towards. It gives them a good amount of motivation in their A-level studies. So we recommend around November, certainly December. We don't like to leave them till January. Next slide, Peter. Thank you. So just a little overview of the UCAS process. I know for many of our families, this is the first run through. So once students have sent their applications, there are sort of 3 things that can usually happen. And they might be told their application is unsuccessful. It's rare, but it does happen. They might be invited to interview. These could be face-to-face or are likely to be virtual this year. And if students have applied for creative courses, they sometimes ask for a portfolio. These have been digital in previous years, or they could be required to submit a physical portfolio for the course. Our arts department are excellent at supporting in this and are very good at helping students put together a university portfolio. So please do ask if you are a creative student applying for a creative course. Miss Walker and Miss Ryan are excellent at helping with those. And then you could receive what's called a conditional offer. So this is where you will get an offer from the university that outlines exactly what grades you need to obtain to receive a place on the course. You may have heard a little bit in the media about unconditional offers. They have been temporarily paused by the universities as a response to the COVID pandemic, so we're unlikely to see any of those this year. If you've got any questions about that, please do get in touch with me. More than happy to talk about the offer process and how that works. Once students have heard back from all their universities, they can apply to up to 5. They will choose what's called a firm choice and an insurance choice, and this process happens sort of April and May of next year. The firm choice should be where they really want to go, their top choice, and where they want to attend if they achieve those grades. Their insurance choice is a backup. It is what it says on the tin, an insurance choice in case they don't quite achieve the necessary grades for their firm choice. But that said, it should be somewhere that they're happy to go if they are placed there on results day. So it's really important that students take their time and work out which one is going to be their firm choice and which one is going to be their insurance choice. Places are then confirmed on A-level results day in August, and that all happens digitally via UCAS. So students that are not intending to go to university also need to be really proactive at the moment, researching options and looking at where they're going to apply for. Apprenticeship applications are already open for some of the larger companies that run apprenticeship schemes every year, and students that are looking to apply for things like the Army and the RAF, they have about a 9-month application process. So it's really important that students are looking now and not waiting to make those applications. For apprenticeships and employment, there's no set deadline, so students need to check regularly for opportunities. They will come up throughout the year, and they might look now and find there's not one they're interested in, but there might be one posted in a few weeks' time. So it's really important they're continually looking, checking and working out what is out there. We provide references, predicted grades and evidence of grades for employers and apprenticeship providers. So students are welcome to put myself down if they need that, and I can discuss that with the students as well. And they also can access one-to-one support from either myself or Mrs. Maluji, who's our impartial careers advisor, and can request one-to-ones through the sixth form team. Some students have already done this and had some lovely one-to-one time with Mrs. Maluji and have found it really beneficial. So if you are listening to this and think that would be really helpful, please come and see one of us in the sixth form team to get a request form to arrange that meeting with Mrs. Maluji.
Hi, sorry for the delay. We just wanted to share some good news stories with you as well at this early stage.
Office has started to come back from universities already. So as Miss alluded to, that we've had 2 offers already received from Russell Group institutions. So really positive start for those students. Likewise, we've got 2 students who have applied for Oxbridge as well. A lot of preparation goes into that, and we are supporting those students through our processes, through the policies we've got in place. And they're going really strongly at the moment, and we look forward to updating you on those and the progression across all of the applications. I mentioned attendance being strong, well above 98%, which is incredible given the situation that we find ourselves in. And again, kudos really to Year 12 students who have since affected, if you look at the effect that the lockdowns had on the Year 11 assessments, the time that they've had away from education, the way that they've settled into the sixth form, again, truly commendable. I mentioned support systems earlier, and I'd like to give you a little outline of the sort of things that we've got in place, some of which are currently running, some of which will kick in later on down the line. Students might have shared with you, but it's obviously handy to share with families that we do ask students to complete a compulsory weekly plan each week. It's electronic, it's on Microsoft Forms, and they can access it via the VLE or Teams. Weekly reminders go out. We ask them to complete it by Monday at 4:30. The idea is they can set themselves priorities for the week, they can reflect on the week before, they can look at previous targets, ask themselves whether they've met them, reflect on maybe why they didn't meet some targets and why they met others, scan the horizon for things that might act as speed bumps, if you like, along the way, and each week really get that tangled mess out of their head with all their priorities that they're juggling. So please do at home push students to complete those on a weekly basis, and please ask them to share them with families. We also ask students to contribute to student voice. So we have a QA strategies in place. We actually have 3. I will mention them again very shortly, but we get a lot of feedback from students to see if these systems are working. The study system itself, from a quantitative point of view, has worked really well, and it's one of the main drivers really beyond kind of the turnaround in our outcomes, alongside other things, of course. One of the key things about this is that it provides students with evidence that they are planning, that they are committing to their work, that they are thinking regularly and reflecting regularly about what they do. And it also helps us, because then we can spot where students might need help in prioritising or target setting. So it's a really useful tool. You may have heard of PIPS. This is a progress intervention planning. We were about to launch the first round of this with Year 12s and 13s based on the assessments that we've got so far. Ultimately, it's data informed and objective. Each data drop around mock times, usually we're able to RAG rate students in terms of their progress towards their ALPS targets. Where we feel that they're on or above, kind of green, slightly below in one subject, maybe two, we can look at amber or red PIPs. They're assigned a one-to-one mentor. Again, to the right-hand side of the screen, you'll see just a snapshot of it's online through forms and the sort of things that we start with. We arrange the meetings, but further down in the questionnaire, the survey, we start negotiating, really, is the best word to use, negotiating targets with the students. It is a positive, supportive process. We do invite parents into that as much as possible. Obviously, this year we'll have to look for new ways to do that, but certainly we do want to invite families into this. And it's a negotiation between the subject teachers, the sixth form team, the students themselves and the parents to how we can best push these students forward and overcome obstacles to get to the progression that they need. Last year, just to kind of quantify that for you, 88% of our students who received a PIPS plan met or exceeded their ALPS target. So it's really, really positive and it seems to be working really well for us. Alongside the study plan, I'd kind of point to this as one of the key shifts towards a change of outcomes for the sixth form. We've established our first round of interventions that will take place for October half term. We can offer psychology for year 13, 12s, business year 13, sociology 12, 13, history year 13, drama year 13 and film studies 12, 13. I understand also that communications went out to our year 12 Spanish students. This doesn't mean these will be the only subjects offering interventions going forward. There are subjects that are looking to put on weekly interventions or bi-weekly interventions on an ongoing model. Equally, we have more half terms and we'll try and again implement more and more and build this offer up over time. Referencing back to student voice, we run three formal voice captures. Dates are on your screen. We'll send out correspondence for this to parents because we want the families to give us feedback. Equally, we want the students to give us feedback, and we also send another round to teachers at the same time. The questions cross-reference each other so you can really get a good feel for how we feel we're doing from a teaching point of view, and then kind of cross-reference that, triangulate that with parents and students. So far, really, really positive, but please look out for these, and I will just point down to the informal voice capture. On the VLE, the sixth form SharePoint, there is an option to select student voice or parent voice at any time you wish. If you'd rather not go through these kind of more formal channels, then please just email us by all means or call us up, and we're happy to receive feedback and discuss any issues. The sixth form SharePoint, which I just mentioned, is an online virtual learning environment, and this is linked to Teams, so students have access to this pretty much 24/7 really. On the VLE, you'll find all our key policies. You'll find access to Unifrog, which we use for our UCAS university applications. You'll find information on how students can develop life skills, anything from changing a light bulb to changing a tie to cooking a meal, this sort of thing. Likewise, we do try and push our SEAG offer, so there are subject-based materials for every subject that we offer at Key Stage 5, but that also includes vocational links that they can explore. There's study revision and learning support throughout the VLE for every subject, a real wealth of information and support there in terms of resources. Equally, and perhaps even more importantly than ever, we can access health and well-being support. But I've also put on things there to get our students really looking outward rather than kind of inward. It's easy to feel quite isolated at the time, but you'll find virtual tours of universities, hundreds of art gallery virtual tours, museum virtual tours as well. Student voice I've mentioned previously. There are wider reader materials on this, access to support mechanisms and systems like Seneca, Caboodle, MyTutor and Parent Pay. Please check it out. Ask your students to run through it with you, and if you have any problems accessing it at home, then please do let us know. I'm just going to hand you back to Mrs. Wallace to talk about our SEAG, and she's already mentioned some of our UCAS provision.
Thank you. So in terms of our CAG provision, we run this all the way through sixth form. Year 13 students took part in our Options at 18 day virtually back in June. We all did this from home, which was a great experience. And at this point, students had the chance to opt into early careers guidance with Mrs. Maluji, and she started to meet these students. She's also had the chance to meet some year 12s that have requested some support and has been doing this either face-to-face or via the phone, which has been really successful so far. Students have also had the chance to request one-to-one support for their UCAS applications, which a good number of students have taken up, and that is still an option if students would like that support. Students also have a weekly bulletin of various opportunities. They range from apprenticeships, university open days, virtual experience, essay competitions, all sorts of things that are on offer to help them boost their CV and make informed choices. We do have programmes that run throughout the year to support students, a big one being the Employability Scheme, which is run in conjunction with Employability UK and Coventry Building Society. So we are looking at a way to run that safely this year so that these students get a chance to join in with that. In terms of pastoral health and wellbeing support, I've set up one-to-one meetings for students that have expressed the need for support. So this was either flagged up through the interview and induction process for year 12 or students that in year 13 have asked for this support. So meeting with students fortnightly. I do have space for more students, so if anybody is listening to this and thinks they'd really value just having a chance to talk through how things are going on a fortnightly basis, please do get in touch. It would be great to be able to do that with you. I'm also around all day. One of the joys of being a non-teaching member of staff is that I am in the office or the sixth form centre for a good amount of the school day, and students can come and see me for small questions, big worries and everything in between. I am part of the wider safeguarding team in the school, so I am trained in helping and supporting students with all sorts of issues they might face in their adolescent years. Our PSHE curriculum is being delivered in the mornings at the moment by teaching staff. We've got different focus each term. So this half term we've covered the 5 pillars of wellbeing. Our students particularly enjoyed Brain Teaser Week, which was all about the learning element of wellbeing. And next half term we'll move on to relationships and what healthy relationships look like, which is always a really interesting topic to cover. We've also been really lucky that during the lockdown time and extended into this new season that Eton School have shared their resources with us. So students have the opportunity to complete an Eton X course to support their wider development, and they've got until Christmas to finish their current courses. And as Mr. Walford has already mentioned, there is additional resources on the VLE that students can access at any time if they've got any worries, concerns about a particular issue or something they're worried about. Thanks, sir.
Thank you. I know we've thrown a lot of dates at you during the course of that presentation, so really I just wanted to capture a lot of those for you. Obviously not expected to take away these and memorise them. They are embedded in the presentation. You can return to these dates, but looking ahead, really we're looking at the mocks as key dates. We're looking at the summative exams for both BTEC and A-level as key dates. Really important for both year 12. And I'll mention again, year 12s, although they won't have necessarily formally examined content this year unless it's really BTEC, their year 12 assessments at the end of the year are absolutely imperative, and they really should be treated like summative exams. We've mentioned the UCAS application deadline. The 3 dates for our rounds of formal voice are there too, but please again remember, informally you can access those as and when you wish on the VLE. Equally, if it's easier to email or call us, then please do. We still are looking at the dates there for the year 11 current year 12 prom at the 4th of June, and ultimately then the year 13 prom at the 25th of June. In terms of planning, we'll share information as we plan it. Obviously you can imagine that it's not as easy this year as it has been in the past. The Christmas break, if you like, that marks the end of the full term, are on there too. There will be, I believe, a staff training day as we get back. But please, I do encourage all students at that point, yes, work, yes, keep revising, but ultimately do take a well-needed rest and spend time with families. I've also included the February half term. I've not gone past that, but coming after the return in January, that's really a key marker then, because then we're into April. Then we're into May. It's going to snowball very quickly in terms of pressure and exams and so on. The October half-term interventions are on there too, but please again talk to students, ask them, get them to check Teams, and do contact us if you have any queries around that. Finally, I just genuinely, sincerely want to say thank you for joining us this evening. It's obviously not the most ideal situation, but it's been a really useful tool from our point of view to be able to make contact with you guys and ultimately share some of the key information, where we go in, the progress we've made so far, and what the road ahead looks like. Our emails are on the screen for the sixth form team. So again, please do contact us, no matter how small you feel an issue might be. We'd rather hear about it so we know about it and therefore can address it and overcome obstacles. Thank you for your time, and we wish you a lovely evening. Thank you.